All this talk about chocolate makes me want to jump in and get baking. I've got some of my friend Jonathan's chocolate left over from my visit to his shop. So now I'm going to make my brown butter walnut brownies. And the big thing here is the brown butter. I love it with chocolate. It's just really nutty and kind of sweet and adds this really interesting flavor to it, and it goes great with walnuts. First, I'm going to sift together all of my dry ingredients, starting with the flour. And the reason why I do this is because you want to have a really consistent texture and make sure everything is fully integrated so you don't get any clumps of anything. Next, I'm going to add my cinnamon for a little bit of flavor, really nice spice, and cinnamon and walnuts are great together. Cayenne pepper for a little bit of heat. I love heat with my chocolate, so that's going in. A little bit of cocoa powder because it gives it a really rich sort of deep flavor and it goes great with the melted chocolate. So I'm just gonna hit this like so. And if you have a traditional sifter, you can totally use that too. So my dry ingredients are ready to go. I'm now going to go get my wet ingredients ready. And the reason why I'm keeping them separate from the beginning is because I'm going to be alternating them later in the recipe. And that's just to make sure they have a really even, beautiful texture. So I'm using a bain-marie again today, which is basically just a bowl over simmering water, and this makes sure that chocolate doesn't burn. So definitely using this a lot today. So now I'm going to melt down some of the beautiful chocolate that Jonathan gave me. And next, I'm going to add coffee. And this is just coffee left over from my pot this morning, but what it ends up doing is it really just brings out that chocolate flavor. It is just a perfect marriage. Like chocolate with vanilla, chocolate and coffee were just meant to happen. So in it goes. Well, I'm just gonna let that simmer and bubble and come together until everything is melted, and then stir it so it's really consistent and just has come together. So now I'm going to make my brown butter, and all that is melted butter, and you let it melt until all of the fat solids, it's all of the white bits, turn a beautiful golden brown. And the other key here is you want to use unsalted butter, not salted. Salted butter will burn, so you want to use unsalted. You basically want to wait until you get that beautiful scent of nuttiness. It should be a little bit golden brown and really nutty, and that's the key. It's nutty, not burnt. So now my butter is perfectly browned and it smells ridiculous. So I'm just gonna add this to our melted chocolate and coffee and mix them until they're blended together. My wet ingredients are totally done, and I'm gonna start mixing my brownies. So to start, I'm going to cream together my eggs and sugar. This is gonna be the base and kind of what everything clings to. So first goes in the sugar, and I'm just gonna pop this into my mixer. So I'm just gonna mix this really quickly, just so that there aren't any clumps of one sugar and the other sugar. And then I'm gonna start putting in one egg at a time. And the important thing here is you want the first egg to always fully integrate, and each egg after that as well. And that's to ensure that everything's really consistent and you have a really nice even texture. So that's perfectly mixed together, and I'm now gonna move on to adding my wet and dry ingredients. So similar to the eggs, I'm gonna wait until everything just fully gets coated so it really mixes in there. Good, that looks good. I'm gonna add a little bit of my wet ingredients. The reason why I'm alternating wet to dry is because you wanna have a really consistent texture when you're baking. If you don't, you're gonna get weird little dry pockets, wet pockets. You're gonna have a very inconsistent brownie, and that is not a good thing. So the last thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna add a little bit of vanilla extract because, like I said, vanilla and chocolate are beautiful together. I'm gonna mix it so it's fully blended. And now I'm gonna add chocolate chips because there's nothing like biting into a nice fudgy brownie and getting a pop of liquid chocolate. And I'm just gonna stir this by hand because I don't need to overmix it. Next, I'm going to pour this into a greased and floured baking dish. And the batter is a little bit liquidy, but the nice thing is that it bakes up really fudgy and dense. So the last step are putting the walnuts right on top, and I like using whole walnuts because they look beautiful on top of the brownie, really sophisticated when it comes right out of the oven. These are ready to go into the oven. I cannot wait to see what Jonathan thinks of them. Jonathan is one of my best friends, and he has an unusual job, a chocolatier. Are my brownies worthy of his praises? Well, I brought you my brownies. They're
Yay.
brown butter walnut brownies.
My favorite.
Yes, and of course it has the Comparty's chocolate in it.
So you like took the bar and melted it down into the chocolate?
Exactly. The chocolate is totally incorporated into the brownie, so.
Can I eat some right now,
yes,
please?
Yes. Let's dig in. Let's dig in.
Cheers.
Okay, let me know how it is. It's okay.
It's more than okay. It's a Claire. It's a Claire brownie.
It's a Claire Comparty's brownie.
It's very moist, and I pick up the cinnamon right away. And now I'm feeling just a little bit of the cayenne pepper.
Yeah, there's just a tiny bit, and that's why it's so good to dip in milk, is because then you get the combination of the heat and the milk and just the entire brownie experience.
Can I have a weekly delivery of brownies,
I
please?
think that can be arranged if I get a weekly delivery of truffles too.
Okay, it's a deal.
Okay.